That's something else we've done is make beer. It's great. I highly recommend making your own beer. And wine and all that fun stuff, which is a very similar process to a lot of these things. It's neat what chemical processes kind of like go into everything. But where am I? Oh, and actually a neat thing that I wanted to mention to you is with the one of the waste products you have from making biodiesel is a great feedstock for a biodigester. Yeah, they really like the glycerin. Yeah, so it's supposed to up their production a lot. So that's just another odd area where you can use something's waste product as a fuel source. And you can make soap out of it too. But again, you obviously really want to make sure that one's clean then. It doesn't have any of the toxic stuff in it anymore. So, I mean, that sort of sums up our power stuff, I believe. Oh yeah, that's another one. We have a team of oxen that are really not well trained. So like, it's tough using the oxen when you have a tractor that listens every time you tell it to turn the right. So we don't use them. Their only purpose right now is manure, which is really useful. But we like having more than one use. And one of the things we thought of is having the oxen walk a circle and generating electricity that way, because oxen can work for like 6-hour days. And you don't really have to feed them much extra, and they eat grass anyway.
And it's not cruel, they're meant to do that stuff.
Yeah, they're 2,000-pound animals, they'll let you know when they're not happy. And then another thing that you have to be really careful around, when they go for a fly and those horns are swinging past your eyes, you just have to be careful with everything. So, can't say that enough. What other stuff am I forgetting?
You got notes here?
Okay. So then the other thing we're saying we don't like is the batteries. And because batteries, I can't make them, at least I don't know how, maybe you can somehow, but and it also deals with nasty stuff and they don't last forever. So we're looking into possibly compressing air and using compressed air as a fuel storage. So you have your generating part of it, you can generate the power, but we don't use our power all at once, so we need to store it somehow. And we don't like the batteries, so we're really trying to figure out alternatives to the batteries. Whether that's pumping up 50,000 gallons of water up a hill, and then when you need the power on demand, you let the water back down the hill. You know, there's a lot of different things like that. There's the compressed, there's heat sink stuff. So we're starting to look into that stuff. And if anybody wants to help with this, we're always looking for helpers on fun projects. But so we are looking for something, an alternative to batteries that's sort of nicer, that we can make. And we will get into this a lot. We're not really like green people, but we don't want to pollute our piece of, you know, the earth. And so a lot of the things we do are really green, but we're not doing it to save the environment. We're not doing it to stop global warming. So I just want to put that out there right now. You know, a lot of these things, we are green about them, but it's because we don't think it's good to pollute. And what's that? Yeah, and it's practical, and we can make it and stuff. So.
How long have you guys been doing this?
2 years ago, not quite 2 years ago. September, and then it was winter, and that was a learning curve. Dealing with the winter up here. I mean, so far the biggest thing is just we were going to do the Bardo project thing, and then we started getting caught up in producing our own food and all these type of things. So we're trying to get that under control. So as more people come up, we can house them and feed them, and it's very low cost, and they're eating good, healthy stuff.
Right, I mean, the way I like to think about it is the first year was getting to know the property and what we needed to do for us to live. And now the second year, we're starting to expand more and look into alternative energy generation and stuff like that, and expanding our garden. You know, we'll talk about that more. And so every year, I think there's going to be some name for it, at least for me.
The person that asked about the windmill too. I like windmills, and we'll make one, but I'm not going to go out and buy one. Okay, and that's the cool thing about wind technology. You can build just about every part of, you know, you can build the generator part and everything. So I do think that's an interesting thing. It's just, we know we don't have enough wind to really justify putting up, you know, a $10,000 windmill. They're great if you're in an area that has sustained heavy winds. If you're not, you're just paying way too much for something that's not going to produce enough power for you.
Yeah, there's a lot of alternative stuff we've looked into, and it just didn't work for where we lived, the type of property we have. You know, we have a river near our property, and a lot of say, oh, you should use that, but it's really far from our house, so we'd have to get it to our house somehow. That's called a power line. We don't want that. So there's a lot of things that, you know, might make sense for you or somebody else, but not necessarily us. So, but if you have ideas, let us know. We're definitely looking to anything.
Yeah, like, Go ahead.
I'm sorry. One of the things for getting ideas, I met somebody who's a professor at Virginia Tech, and he has a first-year engineering class that had to do a project on sustainable energy, and it was too broad. And when I told him where we were living, he said, "Oh, can we use his clients?" And I said, "Sure." So for the last 2 years, we've been getting their projects at the end of the year, and we're hoping to find something very creative from them that we can then use. So, I mean, you can use the whole world for this stuff.
And we're also trying to kind of be an experimenter for all this stuff, and that's why we kind of want to have all the different fuel sources, because, you know, it's neat to know that you can make them from a lot of different things, but then you want ease of use, you know? You don't want to spend all your time, like, refining a fuel or something. So it'll be fun. We just think it's fun to try all these different things, and we can actually know from experience of having used them which ones we think are best. The funny thing is they just put a wind farm in like 5 miles from our house, but right where we are, we don't have the wind quality. Like you can stick an anemometer up for a year to judge your wind speed, but then you do have to put it up on a tower, and you know the cost in that. So we're thinking about making one, seeing how it does, just to get the experience doing that. Like, but if you can get it, wind is a great one to go for. That's normally, I think, the lowest like cost per kilowatt hour of energy if it's a good area. So, and also the other great one is if you can get water, or if you're gonna buy a place and build it, look for a good running stream, because that, you know, that is like kind of the best thing you can get. It always goes.
Okay, one other word about wind though. There's now a lot of interest in wind, so there's a lot of interest in micro wind, just small things where you can take a little bit of energy and do something useful with it, and we'll definitely be looking into that. I mean, we are looking into everything and trying to keep ahead of all the technology that's developing. So we will be looking into it.
We had a question over here. Question?
No. Oh, sorry. Duh. Wood. We have a wood stove in the basement, and we are.
And a sun.
Yeah.
And the sun. Okay, I mean that's something I should tell you too. Part of the whole energy thing is obviously heating, and especially up here, cooling's not really an issue. We don't have any air conditioning, and maybe two nights in the summer it'll be too hot, but that's about it.
Is your house designed to be inhabited?
We have. Okay, so this is a good topic to get on. If you're building a house, have it face southward with big windows on it, and you cut your energy bills in half.
And tonight, make your house
yeah, and spend a lot on insulation, because most houses our size would probably burn like 6 or 8 cords of wood in a winter, and we burn like 3 or 4.
That's a 3-bedroom house. It's a pretty big house.
And we never have the wood stove going during the day. It'll be 0 degrees outside, and that passive solar, it'll hit the inside of the house up to 80 degrees or so. So I mean, you save yourself so much just by pointing the house in the right direction.
Yeah, I mean, when he says never, if during the winter, 5-degree weather, if the sun is out, we don't use the stove until dusk.
So, you know, that just all this stuff cuts down. And it's like, yeah, wood's a renewable resource, but I still have to cut and split, you know, 5 cords of wood. So, you know, I like it being 5 cords instead of 10 cords, and stuff like that. And that also, there's another thing is really cool stuff with the like evolving energy, alternative energy stuff is like dual purpose things that you get heat and power from. Because normally you have waste when you're creating electricity that's heat. So if you can use that to heat your water or heat your house, you get a lot more bang for your buck that way.